I hope everybody's doing okay. This is Slaves of Satan Part 15. The last time I touched on the psychiatry, the history of the psychiatry in America and how it got started and why somebody of faith does not have any respect for it. But now I want to pivot back into the occult and talk about a writer that most people have probably heard of at some point, but the problem is they think it's all fixed. They think it's all fixed, and they think it's all overactive imagination. But somebody that can think that can think enough and actually put things together realizes that the human mind is not capable of thoughts like this by itself with no support from the spirit world. Um, and that is H.P. Lovecraft. He created what's now known as the cosmic horror genre, and he wasn't really popular when he was living. He became popular after his death, which is something that you see kind of often with these people, or at least the popularity spikes after they died and the books start selling. Um, I believe at some point I mentioned the secret chiefs, which are ancient cosmic demons, um, with the which the ascended masters are the physical extension of, and we have a very easy connection to make with H.P. Lovecraft. He always talked about these things known as the Old Ones, but when you look at the secret chiefs and the different names of them and what people in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn claim they look like, you realize that Lovecraft and the Golden Dawn were talking about the exact same beings. And for people that don't understand, the secret chiefs are the spiritual, demonic entity that powers the ascended masters. They also have power over the Astar Command, um, or what other people might know known as the Great White Brotherhood, the Mahatmas, the Masters of Wisdom. They go by a lot of different names. But when it comes to the hierarchy of these evil spirits, the secret chiefs are the most powerful, and these old ones are the exact same thing. And we'll break that down a little bit more here in a little bit. Now, he actually grew up in a Christian home, and then later became an atheist, and then became a pagan. During his when he entered adulthood, and what people miss a lot of times with Lovecraft is that he absolutely had a connection to Aleister Crowley. And not just him, his wife actually dated Aleister Crowley. Now, Wikipedia won't tell you exactly how Lovecraft and Crowley had a connection because they don't want people mapping this stuff out. But that's why I'm making these videos. Not only did they know each other in person, because Lovecraft was the one who told Crowley about the he called the Old One Cthulhu, but Crowley got the name wrong. At first, I was calling it Cthulhu, um, which is the most popular. I don't want to say popular, but the most commonly known of these things known as the Old Ones, which again is just a different name for the secret chiefs. Cthulhu is the ancient water deity, and claims to be one of the oldest demons in existence. And for people that think that I'm just making this stuff up or just believing everything I read, I've seen I've seen unimaginable things like this. Thank the Lord, I don't see them all the time or have some type of problem with it like this guy did, but just seeing one of these things once to be enough to completely shatter the mindset. the mindset. I remember I was laying on my couch about 4 years ago, right over there. Around three or four in the morning, and I had my eyes closed, facing over here, and all of a sudden things looked bright, like someone turned the light on or something. And keep in mind, this was a pitch black room, and I opened my eyes, and all of a sudden there's some gigantic being that looks exactly like the Egyptian god Ra, specifically what it looks like in the Immortal Phoenix version of what's on that Yu-Gi-Oh card. And seeing that thing in person, I thought my life was over. I thought that thing was gonna take my life. Um, or I've known people that's gone into a time paradox, or I've been struck by one of these things before, and lost complete mobility of my hands for 24 hours. Temporarily, these things have started to attack me and take over my mind. Thankfully, I've got through it, but I'm not saying this to try to scare people, but people need to know that these things are completely real. Now, what a lot of people might have heard of, he also wrote the Necronomicon, which did not really get popularized until after his death. Um, but it's a book that when people were reading it when it came out, they were completely losing their mind. They were going insane. People were dying. There, people were getting put into asylums. They were they were becoming killers. And even later, the Necronomicon released in the mid '90s again with a much more um, calm version, and the same thing happened. People kept buying it. People kept either dying or going insane. And I don't know how much of the original is actually available online, but I would plead with anybody not to look it up. He was a big supporter of Hitler, because something that you'll notice about him if you look into him is that he was very racist. And also, to back up the claims that he was seeing these real things, is that he was terrified of even living life. He want to get on a boat. He want to go underground. He would barely leave the house. He was a complete sudden. He was a very strange guy, and he was having these lucid dreams of seeing all these things. That's when he started um talking to Aleister Crowley about it. It's not really clear about how they met, but they clearly knew each other. Um, people that people that had firsthand knowledge about this even said that Lovecraft claimed to astral travel in his sleep to meet Crowley. And something else that you'll see as a repeated pattern with these people is that they are all into Friedrich Nietzsche. And in general, these philosophers are very dangerous, because most philosophers don't believe in God. But Friedrich Nietzsche, what was bad about him, and I feel like I should do a whole video about him, because the more I do these, the more I realize how many people had developed a very corrupted mindset from reading his philosophy. He was extremely hateful, um, um, atheist, believed in people that were weak or poor, just to basically just die for his purpose. Just a very, very hateful person. The Typhonian OTO, which is a branch off the original OTO that Kenneth Grant started, is completely based off of um the old ones that Lovecraft wrote about. And this is what I tell people: these occultists would not spend. Well, you might have one, but you would not have thousands of these people spend their whole life devoted to trying to contact these things if they were not real. You would not have thousands and thousands and thousands of members in these cults if people weren't seeing these things. I know it puts people in kind of a scared mindset to believe how real these things are, but it's either that you believe it, and by the knowledge you can protect yourself and create a relationship with God, or you can take the risk of completely falling due to the lack of knowledge. That's what the Bible warns about. Hosea 4 verse 6. He was even scared of cats and dogs. He was scared that they were disguising themselves as the old ones. So I assumed that he knew something about the Kabbalah, because one of the um, most secretive teachings of the Kabbalah was that you could implant demons inside of a cat or dog or different animals or dolls or any inanimate objects. It's called animism. And I always talk about all these people can be connected to the Masons. While everybody except one so far on this list um, was a Mason or in a different society that was Masonic, while Lovecraft was not a Mason himself. His grandfather was a Freemason and was a very successful businessman. So I imagine that he probably has some influence on him. And something that you'll see is people that have Masonic ancestors usually have some type of curse upon them. They'll usually be successful when it comes to money, but they usually have some type of very negative thing that haunts their life. And for him, it was his dreams of being haunted by these things, which I honestly feel bad for him. Because I was before I took control of the situation and gave my life back over to Christ, I was having unimaginably terrifying sleep paralysis um, experiences for close to, I would say, about 8 years. While I never completely walked away from the faith, I was an apostate Christian for for about 8 years, mostly because of lusting and just not wanting to be alone. So I went astray through women, and I feel like that's one of the reasons that God took away my sex drive. And he also had some preconceived knowledge of what people would claim that these extraterrestrials look like, and some of these mysterious creatures caught on camera that people aren't really sure what they were, because before anybody else knew what they were, he was pretty much one of the first people to write about it. I believe he was even writing about it before Aleister Crowley met that gray alien named Lam. And like I said, all these videos is to build the case about about how Crowley's teachings has ruined the world today. So all these have to be viewed together to understand them completely. Because just one video like this doesn't really prove much of anything. But all when you put them all together, you start to see that the possibilities of it all being a coincidence is mathematically impossible. And I'm gonna try to keep uploading quicker. Have a good rest of the day.